Want to welcome everybody over on YouTube Live, over on PopXcast.com/live, where tonight's episode is being brought to you by PopXcast. So we want to thank you guys so much for joining us. And yes, be sure to get your geek on. Hashtag get your geek on. Be right back. We're going to roll that beautiful bean footage, and we're going to go live right here on PopXcast. Don't go anywhere.
You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
All right, and we are live here on PopXcast. This is Austin Burke joining me over here in the window right here. How you doing, man?
Oh my goodness, Joe, I am absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to talk about some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles this week. Oh my gosh, dude. So right out of the gate, before we get into that, I want to welcome everybody to the live show. This is episode 18 coming to you right here on, we're actually multi-streaming this week. We're actually doing multiple platforms across multiple windows. So if you're joining us on YouTube Live, welcome. Let us know how we're doing over on YouTube Live. We're going to drop the link for you. If someone could check that for us, that'd be swell. As I can't right now, I get some crazy echo and going on. We don't want that. But, all right, guys, welcome to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture. I am your host, Joe Burke, and over here,
I am Austin Burke, your residential Appalachian geek at heart. We would like to thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Hey, if you missed last week's episode 17, where we talked about X-Men Apocalypse, be sure to head over now to Google Play and or iTunes. Click that subscribe button to catch up. While you're there, leave us a beautiful and glowing 5-star rating and review. We certainly appreciate that. Joe, how you doing, buddy?
hey, man, we also want to say right quick, our buddy, our man that usually takes care of the slides, Mr. Mike Ippolito, he's caught in it how shall we say this? He's caught in limbo in Washington, D.C. He's in transit, and he's doing a little work, and so he can't be here tonight, but he wants to send his love to all the PopX crew here tonight. So, yes, definitely, Mr. Ippolito, hope you're well. Safe travels, my friend.
We miss you.
We miss you. Miss you like the plague. No, I'm just missing. I'm sorry.
He loves that, Joe.
He
loves that.
I don't know. Anyway, I did not have. Anyway, sorry. Moving on. But yes, last week's episode was X-Men Apocalypse, and Austin, dude, seriously, we missed you so much last week.
I know, man.
was just like, but we want to thank Carlos, who's joining us in the chat room live right now. Carlos Phoenix, he stepped up to the plate when
amazing.
When we needed someone. So he stepped up to the plate. He did his thing, and he went to bat for us. So he is awesome. We want to thank you guys so much for that, and thank you, Mr. Carlos. But following, getting into some PopX news before we dive into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles world right now, following last month's departure of the formerly, how shall we say this, attached Seth Grahame-Smith, Warner Brothers Pictures, the Flash movie has today found a new helmer, and the Deadline reports that the studio has hired none other than Rick Famuyiwa. I hope I said that right.
Let's go with that.
Famuyiwa. But so basically what DC is trying to do is they're trying their level best to be able to bring DC Comics to the big screen. And they're trying, we got Wonder Woman coming up next year. And they've been scrambling trying to find a director for The Flash. So finally, they have a director for The Flash. And we it's not Grant, although we would want it to be Grant, unfortunately. But, Grant from the CW Flash, by the way.
Dude, I want to say I love this news because I just recently watched Dope, a little movie that came out last year, I believe.
HBO?
I, I watched it on Netflix,
Okay.
but it was like one of those kind of like Oscar baity, independent films.
Yep.
It was fantastic,
Yes,
and
it
the way
was.
that he filmed that movie, when I heard his name attached to Flash, I was like, "That's perfect," because he's got this comedic tone down, but he knows how to tell a good story. So I really do think he could crush this.
Yeah. And I'm really optimistic about it because of just the way he's able to tell a story. I've seen some of his work before, so it's going to be really cool to be able to see that dynamic. And
Joe, I gotta tell you something real quick.
oh Lord,
This is really important, okay? Because
All right.
apparently Marvel Studios has found. Now, this is just, we don't know for a fact.
Okay.
This is just reports coming out.
Okay.
Marvel Studios has found its Captain Marvel. Academy Award winner,
Okay.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson. Okay. Did you watch a movie that came out last year called Room?
Yes.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
She kills it. She's a fantastic actress, and she was in the back of my mind, she was in like top 3, top 5 to play Captain Marvel. But if they can get her,
You know what's funny though? I think that Brie Larson, just her facial features and just her alone, looks like Captain Marvel.
she looks like her.
She looks like Captain Marvel. So I'm like, oh my God, that's Captain Marvel, you know?
I mean, Marvel, they consistently kill it with casting, man. You look at Doctor Strange cast and Thor Ragnarok adding all these new people, and Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. I mean, that's an Academy Award winning actress. That's pretty good if you're Marvel Studios right now. You're
That is
feeling
really
pretty good
good.
about yourselves.
Yeah. Well, that's not all we have too. Also, we have some. We were going to do next week an episode dedicated to Warcraft. All right, so we got to kind of talk about this a little bit. Let's unpack this.
Oh man.
So I was looking at reviews of Warcraft right out of the gate from Europe, and this thing is it's a turd, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not going to waste my time or a movie ticket. And I'm no, don't get me wrong. Anybody that listens to my podcast, anybody that know, I'm not that guy. I'll probably still see it, but I'm not going to dedicate a lot of time and energy to it just because of some of the reviews. And I've had some people over in the UK that are part and listen to the podcast, and they've actually reported back to me, and they've said, Joe, you might want to rethink this. You might not want to do episode 19 as Warcraft. I'm like, okay. So if I'm getting this feedback already, I'm not going to say anything negative about the movie. Go see it, enjoy it. If you're a Warcraft fan, you'll probably enjoy it. If you're a video game fan, I'll leave it at that.
That's so sad, man. This could have been the beginning of the video game movie renaissance.
It could have been. It could have been.
And you never know. It could perform really well at the box office, and it could get more reviews that come in. But right now, the reviews that are on Rotten Tomatoes are not good, and they're not just. It's not just average. Like the Ninja Turtles reviews, they're about average.
Yeah.
These reviews are terrible.
It's
terrible.
It's a stinking turd. I mean, we'll see. I'm not going to say that though. I mean, it right out of the gate though. It's starting at an 18%. Is what the last time I looked at. That's pretty bad.
That's sad, man.
That is
It really is.
That is.
But
Sad.
June 24th.
Yes.
This may be the sequel that we've all been waiting for, Joe. Independence Day
Yes.
Resurgence comes into theaters. Are you
And
excited?
I am excited, actually. I'm
excited.
I'm excited because it's got it's one of the films I've always wanted to see a part 2 to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we finally get to see that, and with Jeff Goldblum, who has now been cast as part of Marvel Cinematic Thor Ragnarok. Okay, so that was a nerd nugget for you.
Nerd nugget.
But Jeff Goldblum, I think, is an amazing actor, and from what I'm reading, he's kind of the front runner, the frontline guy for this whole film. He's the lead, and it's been a long time since we've seen Jeff in that role as a lead, and it's great to see him come back, and all the other actors from the previous movie too, except Will Smith. Has come back, and I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a really good movie, and we'll probably may even do a review on it.
And a lot of people they're coming out saying, "Oh, well, this is going to be another big action spectacle, but they're expecting an Oscar film. That's not what Independence Day is. It's
No.
fun.
No,
It's a fun summer blockbuster. And if this can even get close to the original, I'm going to go out, I'm going to eat my popcorn, and I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it.
Well, that's the thing too. A lot of people say that when they do these kind of films, that they want it to be some epic Lord of the Rings mind-bending movie, and it's an entertainment movie.
Those only come so often,
Yeah.
and not every summer movie can be a Lord of the Rings or a Star Wars. I mean, every now and then you just have to turn off your brain and enjoy a film, and Independence Day is the perfect movie to do that.
Exactly, and Carlos over in the room here really has a good point that he didn't return because of his role in Suicide Squad. He was filming Suicide Squad during the same time, so that's a really good observation.
Good call, Will.
Yeah,
good call, Will Smith.
Yeah, well, it's the lesser of two. Do you want to be Deadshot or do you want to return in a previous role?
I mean, it would have been cool
You know?
to see him return,
Yeah.
but they're playing off of it. They're saying, he has a son now and he's taking over kind of that Will Smithy role. So
Right.
I'm fine with it. It's not going to bug me.
Well, that's we're kind of coming up to the end of the news area here, and I got a couple things here I want to show you guys, and so yeah. So I was in the bookstore the other day, and I was looking, and there was only one copy of this on the shelf, but you can find this over on Amazon, and this is a really good book. I started reading it yesterday at the beach, and look at this. This is Marvel Comics: The Untold Story, and this is by Sean Howe. And the first 3 chapters of this is just mind-blowing. It talks about, it goes back to 1940s with Timely Comics, long before Stan Lee and Jack Kirby ever joined the team. And it's a really good read, and so far I'm already 3 chapters in. As you can see, I got my bookmarker right about there. So I'm about 3 chapters in. It's a really good book, and I definitely want you guys to recommend this. If you're into history and comic history, this is definitely a comic book for you. Also, well, we have to talk about this.
What's next? What's next?
What's next?
Oh, no.
Well, this is kind of, we had hinted about this a little bit last week, but this is the actual issue that everybody's talking about right now.
Ooh.
Hail Hydra.
Man, what a controversial topic.
I know. There is even the actor Chris Evans that plays Captain America went on Twitter and he tweeted about it. He was like, "What?" So,
hey, but you know what, Joe? It's drawing people who have never read a comic book in their life.
Yeah.
People that I know
Yeah.
are saying, you know what? I want to read this comic.
Yeah.
It's drawing attention to comic books, and I like what Marvel's been doing, getting all over social media saying, "Hey, we have this issue here."
Even us, we're talking about it. We're talking about it right now. We're on the bandwagon immediately just by discussing it.
Anything that can draw attention to comic books, man, fantastic.
And also here too, we have Avengers number 10. I have Avengers 1 through 10.
Nice.
So I love the artwork on these. Nice. By the way, the artwork is beautiful. So this is just what I picked up this week. The next one is something that I think every comic book nerd should start reading: Civil War Part 2.
Yes, sir.
So there's actually another Civil War, and as you can see, we've got Captain Marvel right there. Yes.
Brie Larson,
maybe. I don't know. Now I got 2 more comics, and then we'll get on into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But now I saw this comic at the store, and I looked at the top of it, and the top immediately drawn me. It drew me in, and I'm like, what? And so I hadn't seen Timely Comics printed on a comic book since the 40s. This is a Marvel comic with Timely Comics logo from the 40s, and look at this, it's even got the Marvel logo down here, because Marvel is Timely Comics.
Wow.
So Marvel is taking, this is Carnage, and basically they're taking, this is 3 books in one, Carnage 1, 2, and 3. They're doing Avengers, and I believe they're doing a couple other series, and they're doing the Timely Comic brand on it, and they're selling it for like $3.
Wow.
Yeah, you're getting 3 comics for $3 under the Timely Comic.
That's awesome. What a throwback. What an awesome throwback.
It was weird. It was really cool, and I was like, I've got to get that. That's different. Last but not least, and I saved this one because we recently went through Marvel Comics' Secret Wars, and an amazing, phenomenal series. If you've not read it, do yourself a favor, get the graphic novel. Rebirth, DC Comics.
Oh.
So this is Batman #1, and so it's just telling the story from a different vantage point. I've only read a couple pages, so I can't really give much of a synopsis of it. But I'm hoping this week to be able to get Green Lantern and Green Arrow #1 as well. So definitely check out DC Comics Rebirth. I think the Rebirth saga, which is a one-shot comic, I think it's coming out either this week or it came out last week. So definitely try to pick that up as well, because it gives the backstory on DC trying to reboot their entire franchise. So Marvel Comics did it, so they're doing it too.
And it's something else that's, like I said with the last thing that we were talking about, drawing attention to comic books.
Yeah.
I have never seen so many people on all these blog sites that I'm on, like comicbookmovie.com, and just going, DC's rebooting what? What's going on with this character, and this character? Dude, it's drawing attention to comic books. And frankly, I think so far it's working well for both of them.
And people are reading. People are diving into this world now more than ever, and I think it's freaking awesome.
It's phenomenal.
It is awesome. So we also want to give a quick shout out. Lindsay Badger is not with us this week. She is on the road in California. I think she just recently went to Disneyland, California with her family. A little bit jelly.
I'm very
jelly. But we want to wish her safe travels as she travels back. And she usually does the Nerd Nuggets, so we're going to let her slide this week. You don't have to worry about it. Don't work too hard. We'll see you next week, Lindsay, hopefully. All right, so we're going to move on into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So right out of the gate, Austin, what are your thoughts on Ninja Turtles? Now, you've seen the previous one, right?
I saw the first one.
Okay.
And it was fine.
Okay.
And I saw the second one. It's fine.
Okay.
There are definitely, it has its fair share of problems.
Yeah.
It has a lot of problems in the narrative, the storytelling, very cheesy, campy elements, which is what Ninja Turtles are all about. I get that. Yeah. But when you mix that tone with this dark tone that they're going for, having the turtles cussing and all this stuff, and having shots of Megan Fox walking like a supermodel and all this stuff. Yeah. If you mix that with campy and you have two different tones that are consistently shifting, throwing the audience off, it's great for kids. There were a lot of kids in my audience going, "Whoa, this is great, fantastic." For me, I was just sitting there like, the turtles were great.
Yeah.
The turtles themselves,
they were visually awesome.
They looked great. They acted great. But the movie that they were in just, it's fine.
And here's the problem I had with it. I mean, and we're gonna tear it apart bit by bit. We're going to talk about the new characters, the newcomers, and all of this stuff. But when I left the theater, I literally before the movie ended, I could already predict the ending.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not a good thing.
And it's very similar to the ending of the first one, is it not? They're on a big building, a big thing in the sky. I mean, just do something different. And that was the most anticlimactic final scene. Spoilers, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Final scene.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler heavy, even though there's not much to spoil. But the final scene for me, I was just like, come on.
Yeah, I was wanting
more.
Well, you know what? Let's save that, and we're gonna unpack that right at the end. But so right out of the gate, what did you think about Tyler Perry as Baxter Stockman?
You know what? He was interesting to me because
he was so freaking nerdy, dude.
The first time I saw him, when he's sitting at that table and he makes that nerd joke, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this guy.
Yeah.
But as the movie progressed, the more he did it, the more I was like,
got weird, man.
Scale it back, dude. And then just weird. The final scene when he's getting drug away, and he was just a strange character for me. I don't know. I never pictured Tyler Perry as Baxter Stockman.
It's a little different. I'll give you that.
It was weird, man. It was very.
It was weird, and we all know he makes the transformation to the Fly, which is the image that you just saw. And they're probably going to save that one for part 3. But it was just, there was some of his liners and some of his jokes were just like, ooh. Yeah,
I kind of cringed.
It was weird.
Oh, Joe, I got a funny story before we move on. During the movie, I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was towards the end of the movie, and Josh and I were sitting there. This kid behind us predicted what was going to. He's like 4. He predicted what was going to happen next. He said it to his mom. He goes, "Hey, Mom, this is going to happen, and then it's going to end up being Shredder." And it happened. And I'm like, okay, if you have a 4-year-old predicting the next 2 or 3 scenes, come on. I was just, me and Josh were like, oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies where David Green directed the first and the second one, and it's interesting because in one of those type of movies that you can predict almost every future scene, and there's nothing in there to really shake it up with. It's kind of well, how do I say this, Austin? It's pleasing to look at.
Yes,
but I probably won't own the Blu-ray.
No, it visually, the movie, I'll agree with you. The movie looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, the Turtles were done very well, and I even liked Bebop and Rocksteady, but just everything else about the movie for me just kind of falls flat and especially the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, they could have done that better.
Do you think that Bebop and Rocksteady actually stole the show?
I liked. Okay, weird. I know they were strange characters, but that's what they are in the animated show, right? And
well, they're talking pigs and a talking rhinoceros. For crying out loud.
I mean, it's ridiculous when you think about it. Of course, the whole concept of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are ridiculous, but I can't say I love their characters. Like, some of their lines were like, and all this stuff, but every time they were on screen, I'm like, I'm getting a kick out of these guys.
Yeah.
I'm getting a kick out of them.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the movie, the more they talked, the more I was like, please just fight. Just don't talk.
And it was getting obnoxious, and of course they have to throw in the fart sounds.
I hated that.
It was just
so
like,
much.
Really?
When they pulled out
cheesy.
the fart joke, he said it's like the Big Bang Theory, and then he farted. I was like, oh,
really?
Oh,
yeah, so cheesy.
Come on,
so cheesy. And I know the cartoon was cheesy and campy to some extent, but the movie doesn't necessarily have to live up to that. But I don't know, man. It's just, well, let's talk about Shredder for a minute. Okay, so they cast Brian T., who replaces the previous Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1. And here he is with Rocksteady, who is actually Sheamus, right?
Yeah, he's Sheamus.
Yeah, man.
That's
so
pretty cool.
He's that's a fighter. If you don't know your pop culture, shame on you. But here is Brian T., who is replacing the previous Shredder, and we got a full body of him here. Now, this Shredder kind of felt like maybe a throwback to the original cartoon Shredder, kind of a shorter. But I gotta say, man, the one in the first movie was dark. I mean, he was almost like, his face was always shadowed, and he was just towering, a towering presence.
Yes.
In this movie, oh my God, it's just like when Krang froze him immediately, and that was it. He went down into the Technodrome. I'm like, that's it. That's it.
For me, his character served no purpose.
No.
In the film, his character did not serve a purpose. They got him out.
Yeah.
Got whatever that thing he was going to get, and then he was frozen.
Yeah.
What did he do? And his character felt really out of place for me. Yeah. This is a campy tone, other than all the Megan Fox shots. It's a very campy tone, and then his character is like in a completely different film, and I just didn't. And I agree that the Shredder in the last movie was better.
Dark. Yeah, he was a lot better. We got a shot of him here in his full getup too, and Shredder didn't even feel like he was. Shredder was more of a catalyst in this movie. He was just like a side role that really shouldn't have been even in. Yes. He shouldn't have not even been in the movie. To be honest with you,
there was a line in the movie that I actually laughed out loud at, and I felt bad for doing it. There was a line at the main end. Okay. Where they're taking away Baxter Stockman, and he says, really menacingly, he says, "Send him to a facility in Tokyo."
What?
What? What? He could have said, "Send them to my lair" or "Send them to the dungeon."
He says to the facility in Tokyo.
He could have taken him into a McDonald's. Joe, there's all kinds of facilities in Tokyo.
Yeah, it could have been restroom facility at a McDonald's in Tokyo for all we know.
Who wrote that line, Josh? And I looked at each other and we go, "Oh my goodness, what?
That's horrible.
Come on."
Yeah, there were some one-liners in here you just have to like end up shaking your head at. I'm just like, will kids enjoy this movie? Yes.
Kids
Yeah.
loved this movie in my theater.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But will a well-seasoned Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan from the 80s and 90s enjoy this? Yeah. You'll enjoy the visual entertainment aspect.
Yeah, there are nuggets, and they pulled some stuff out of the animated series, and they pulled some stuff, even the darker tones, they pulled some of that stuff from the old comics.
Yeah.
But overall, you mixed all of those elements together with frankly, a terrible script and poor directing and Michael Bay's, supermodel shots and car commercials in there. It just doesn't make for a cohesive film.
No, it didn't, and I kind of felt that Vernon and April O'Neil's their dynamic too was just like it was they shouldn't have even been in the movie. It was so weird. It was so weird. He was like, what was his name? Like Hawk or something like that. Falcon. He's Falcon, and he's like, I'm the Falcon, and I took claim over the turtle. I'm like, that's so. Which
I will say this though, he was in it a lot less than the first one, and I liked that a lot because his character in the first one was just.
Yeah. Well, there was a really cool aspect of this film, and that was actually Mr. Casey Jones himself. And I actually enjoyed Steve Amell's role. He was probably the best actor in the whole film.
He was by far the best actor, and still his performance it's a lot different than the Casey Jones that we know.
Yeah.
But I love Stephen Amell as an actor, so I the whole time I bought it, I'm like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Now there were some things he did like shoulder a few ninjas and they fell backwards and apparently like got knocked out. That was kind of unbelievable, but it comes and goes with that film. But overall, Stephen Amell's performance, I was like, you know what? He's the best part of the movie as it goes for humans.
He has done Arrow now for continually going on 4 or 5 seasons now. So I mean he's definitely no stranger to this, and probably gosh, I don't even want to say this, but he's probably one of the better suited actors in the entire film from my perspective. And I don't want to say that because I know there's a huge amount of like 3D mapping that goes involved in actually doing the turtles themselves. They use the same technology that they do to film Planet of the Apes with, the body suits with the 3D mapping. Mm-hmm. And so it was, I don't want to take away from that because I can't imagine what that dynamic is trying to film like that. But on screen,
the turtles look great.
The turtles look great.
And they had some great lines in the movie, but you can just tell, you're like, okay, I know none of these guys have been in big movies before.
Yeah.
You can, other than the first
Megan
Ninja
Fox
movie, Oh, Megan Fox.
Well, it was really cool though to see the turtle van.
That was sweet.
That was pretty cool, and it was actually throwing out sewer caps out of the front of the grill of the truck, which was awesome. Sewer plates. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of cool. And then, Michelangelo had his massive nunchucks that he was flailing.
That was pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet. Dude, there were some pretty cool visuals in this movie. I mean, the look of the final battle was great. The big things forming the Death Star in the sky, that was great.
Yeah.
But just the way that the scene was executed wasn't. And that's how I feel about the whole movie. The movie looks great, and there's some cool little nuggets in there, and the turtles are fine. They're fun.
Yeah.
But the execution.
All right, what do you think about Krang?
Okay. Now.
he's at a loss for words.
I hated Krang.
Krang sounded like a really cheesy 80s boss, like an 80s and the robot was done really well. The graphics are done amazing.
The graphics are beautiful.
Graphics are great. Again, the graphics in this film literally outweigh the acting and the plot.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And I was thinking about that because when they were actually seeing visuals of Krang, and I was seeing all the 3D mapping and the actual texturing of the turtles themselves. I'm like, man, that is visually, aesthetically pleasing. It's awesome.
I paid attention to their arms, right?
Yeah.
And the muscle definition and like where their spots were located.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal, man. They looked so good.
It was much better than the first one.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
looked
just like-
they looked better than the first one. Yeah.
And you take the first one and you take this second one that just came out. The first one kind of went to the shamanistic style of the Ninja Turtle, getting back to, you know, the dojo, getting back to Splinter, getting back to the basics of the martial arts. This movie took it to a whole new cartoon, cheesy, campy level.
Yes.
And is it beautiful to look at? Yes. Is it cheesy
Absolutely.
as heck? Well, you want to go get some Cheese Whiz and some chicken biscuits? Yeah, probably. But anyway, and let's talk about the time portal where they had to go, and it was almost like X-Men Apocalypse, where X-Men Apocalypse they had to like spend so much time trying to get the four horsemen together.
Yeah.
Which one problem I had in that whole film was X-Men was they spent too much time getting them together, and they could have done that one scene. They spent too much time getting these three artifacts together to open this portal. It was retarded.
I was so lost when they were doing, because somewhere along the way, I guess I missed what the actual plan was.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was their intention to be confused throughout the entire movie, but I didn't know why and what he was doing. And then I saw the Death Star, and I'm like, why is the Death Star there?
Why is there a Death Star over New York?
And then Pixels. Remember the movie Pixels?
Yes.
They started coming through the sky, building the Death Star, and the turtles were skateboarding on them. I was just confused.
I was a little confused as well, and
the portal in the sky, did that not remind you of season 1, the end of The Flash?
yeah, a little bit.
It looked just like it.
It looked like the same mapping. It looked like the same freaking mapping.
They saw that and they were like, dude, this is awesome. Write it down.
Stephen Bell is going to love us for this.
That's what I say about the majority of the lines in the movie. They're like, what would go good here? And he's like, just say that. Good. They're paying us millions of dollars. Yeah, this is great.
Oh man, it is. And you know, I don't know. I'm at a loss. I really am. I mean, it was really cool. It was cool. Like there's a lot of things that looked cool, but sounding cool and acting cool in the movie. It was just it looked cool. That's it. That's it. It looked cool. It just didn't work.
You know, the more I think about this movie, Joe, the angrier I'm getting. I'm just getting mad.
And the Technodrome, we always know if you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, we know that the Technodrome is always this massive tank-looking sphere that is indestructible.
Yes.
Why is it a floating Death Star?
No clue.
Why?
Why? I don't
get it.
know.
And why is it in pieces? And why is it being teleported in pieces? And you know, spoiler alert.
Yes.
Here, you know how they get rid of the Technodrome? They find the beacon, and the beacon sends the whole thing back into the portal with a drone.
So
it was so.
Dude, I've said since day one, the first time I ever saw a drone, those things are awesome, right? That drone just saved the world, Joe.
Yeah, it was a drone. It was a Walmart drone.
It just saved the world, man. What a plot device.
Let's take the transponder. What was it? The beacon. Attach it to a drone, and it'll send the whole Technodrome back into. What? That's how you're going to get rid of this massive floating fortress? Is with a drone?
They gave them keys to the city for flying
a drone
through a portal.
A drone.
That's great. Those things are hard to control too.
Yeah, and that thing was like on autopilot. It was like.
Yeah. How did it know where to go? No.
Well, you know, it was an interesting ride. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was definitely one of those interesting rides, and I've said it. You've heard me say it already before. I enjoyed the visual aspect. Did you catch the little not blooper Easter egg with the Transformer?
The guy. Okay. Did they get the actual guy that goes around New York doing that? because there is an actual guy that does that.
Yeah. I know.
If that's him, I applaud them. That was pretty cool. And Michael Bay is a producer, so
Yeah.
he had to throw a little Easter egg in there. But that I enjoyed that. I was like,
Yeah, it was
oh,
really cool. It was really cool to see that, and it was yellow, so it could have been Bumblebee. But it was a truck, so I don't know. Use your own. I don't know, but it was really cool to see that. But so final kind of bringing everything back into retrospect. I enjoyed the film visually. The acting was atrocious.
yes,
Steve Amell did a good job.
he did.
He did a good job, and I can't say nothing negative about Megan Fox, but there was a lot of her in part one, and they maybe gave her 5 minutes total screen time in part two. Good job. So, will kids love the film? Absolutely. Is this a film where you can go and you can get some popcorn and enjoy a great family night out with your kids?
Yes,
Absolutely.
for sure.
And there's I think maybe 2 or 3 swear words in the whole movie, and that was one thing that I really kind of looked at, and it wasn't that bad. And
No.
so you can feel comfortable going into the theater with that. And now, is this, like I said earlier, is this a film for season individuals like Austin and myself who are kind of on the cusp of pop culture and things like? I don't know. It's I don't know. There's a lot of the cool things in there that looked really awesome, that worked well, but the acting and the voicing behind that just did not line up with the visual aesthetic of the film for me, and especially Krang did not line up with me. I didn't really enjoy that. Bebop and Rocksteady, they were cool at first, but their one-liners and their cheesiness ended up kind of draining me at the end, especially with the fart jokes and the stupidity of it and the mundane. Austin, what are your thoughts? What are your final thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I know it seems like I've been crapping on the movie, and there are a lot of things that you just don't need to think about after you leave the theater, because there's just a lot of things that don't make sense, a lot of terrible acting, and a lot of plot devices that were just used over and over and over. It's like, please, can we just try something else? But like Joe said, this is a great movie. If you have kids, you can just take your entire family out there. And I'll tell you right now, every kid in that theater was cracking up, oohs and ahs. I mean, and they loved it. They loved the movie. They were walking out going, "Oh, Turtles, that went." And that, if that was Michael Bay's goal, if that was their goal, then they definitely accomplished that. But like he said, if you're looking for a cohesive film, if you're a film lover, if you know that this is not your forte, I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
But if you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, then I would say definitely go for the nuggets, for the nerd nuggets, and for the visuals, because the visuals are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So that is pretty much our thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I guess in the words of Reading Rainbow, you don't have to take my word for it. But love you, LeVar Burton, wherever you are out there. But so I want to talk a minute, and this is something off the radar. Did you happen to catch the Flash finale?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, well, let's talk about this for a minute. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
so we're going into season 3 of the Flash, full on open spectrum. All right, so we know that Henry Allen died. Zoom killed him, which was a tear moment. So Barry has lost both parents. Okay, we are in this dimension, in this world, in this time. And then at the end of it, we find out who the man in the iron mask is, which is Jay Garrick.
That was epic.
But not the Jay Garrick you think that is playing by Zoom. It is none other than John Wesley Shipp. We talked about this last week a little bit. So, what do you? I didn't get a chance to ask you openly, but what is your dynamic? Going into season 3 of the Flash with John Wesley Shipp, maybe even going to DC's Legends, and then DC's Legends also had a tie-in with the Justice Society with Our Man. So, where are you at with all this mentally?
I'm confused. Okay, because the last scene in the Flash seems to have set up Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And if he is changing the entire timeline, which is what it looks as if it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
What's going to happen with Edge of Tomorrow, good Lord, Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow, and maybe could Supergirl join the same unit? I mean, there's so many possibilities that could happen, and there's now rumors of a 4-way crossover, 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4 of a giant crossover between all of those characters. I mean, there's so many possibilities, and that's what I love about the Flash. It's always leaving you your jaw on the ground, so open-ended. You don't know what's going to happen, but they left you enough knowledge saying, is this Flashpoint? Could we be going into Flashpoint? I think that's what they're setting up, Joe.
I think it is too, and if they do that, they're actually really genius on this. And for those of you that didn't get to see the end of Flash, he went back into time and prevented his mother from dying, and he also saw himself. Which alters the entire timeline as we know it. So the existence of everything that we know, I mean, even getting back to Wells and Reverse Flash, I mean, you're reversing the past 2 years of Flash that we've seen on TV, pretty much to this point. Mind blown.
And Wells is actually, he's confirmed for the next season, but is it Earth 1 Wells? Is it Reverse Flash? Is it Earth 2 Wells? I mean, but the possibility that I had in my head, it could be Reverse Flash, but if that happened, then maybe Wells of Earth 1 never died. So now Wells of Earth 1 could be the actual Wells of Earth 1, and Reverse Flash could be, Eobard Thawne.
And it's going to be interesting to see where it picks up, because when he goes back into the present time, his mother's still alive, and there's going to be there's a time rift there. And so it's going to be really interesting. Now, did you see Arrow's season finale when they actually killed Damien Dark? Well, how pleasing was that when they actually killed Damien Dark?
Thank goodness.
Oh, God.
Thank you. He's dead. Finally, man. It took him. It seems like it took him forever, but finally.
I mean, Deathstroke was one of those ones that he was really an antagonist, and it was really one of those villains you're just like, oh, finally, Deathstroke, Slade Wilson is dead. And now you feel like that with Damien Dark as well. You're like, finally, Damien Dark. I mean, it's just, they build up, and it's just been crazy. And at the end of it, it just took one arrow to the heart. That's all it took.
Arrow, dude.
He take his idol away, and he's dead.
I loved it.
It really, one thing I really liked about it is that at the end of Arrow, Speedy is taking time off. Diggle put back on the uniform, so he's going back into the service. Interesting. And the last scene that we get of Team Arrow is actually Felicity and Oliver, and the camera's panning away, and that's all we see, and they're standing in front of the cases of the outfits. And so, Laura is dead, Black Canary. So Team Arrow now, as we know it, has been disbanded. There's only Felicity and Oliver. And so, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting. So there's a lot of dynamics going into the future seasons in the fall. So I'm really excited to see where they're going to take it. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens, especially with Supergirl now entering the realm of CW. And like you said, in December, they're doing the multiverse crossover. So that's going to be fun.
You said Laura a while ago, Black Canary. I know she wasn't a fan favorite in Arrow.
Yeah.
But her role in The Flash, I dug it.
Yeah.
I really dug it.
She was dark.
Seeing her portray that dark character and the
Canary.
scream.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I don't know. It was just something different for me where I'm like, you know what? And she's not dead. So
technically.
Seeing her again.
Yeah. Well, it was really cool. And so I think I'm really excited for the future of all these comic book shows and stuff coming out. And we have Luke Cage coming out in September as well. We can't forget that. And then Iron Fist right after that. And then Defenders right after that. The CEO of Netflix went on the record to say, and this was on superherohype.com, that Netflix has a plan to release a brand new series every 6 months of Marvel Cinematic. So we are going to get something brand spanking new every 6 months.
Oh, man. In a way, it's kind of a bummer, though, because I finished those shows within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have 6 months to wait for each of them.
Do you binge watch?
Oh, well, okay.
Okay.
At first, I didn't.
Yeah.
I wanted to, I spaced the first season of Daredevil out a little bit, and then Jessica Jones comes out, and I'm like, well, I want to keep watching, and then I just binge watched season 2 of Daredevil, and I like it that way.
Yeah, I binge watched Daredevil. I was watching like 4 or 5 episodes a day until
Yes.
I was just like, okay, clear my schedule. I'm gonna be a couch potato. Grab me the Mountain Dew and the Doritos. I'm all in. So
Yes, sir. Oh man, and it's well, you know what? Marvel does such a good job with their Netflix shows, and they
they
always
do a good job with everything, dude.
they're unstoppable.
It's Marvel.
They're a force. Disney is a force of
To be
nature
reckoned with, yeah.
right now, Joe. Zootopia just passed $1 billion. We have Civil War, Zootopia, and the next best thing right now, money wise, box office, is The Jungle Book.
The Jungle Book, yeah.
Disney, 3 Disney films.
Yep. And then Finding Dory is coming out as well. We can't forget about that.
And there's another potential $1 billion. It's like the last one.
And then they got Moani. Have you seen about Moani?
Is that the one with The Rock? Is that the one?
I don't
There's
know.
one with The Rock.
It's a 3D digitally animated. It's a Disney film, and it's called Moani, and it's set on Hawaii. And
I think that's the one with The Rock.
I think it could be. It could be the one with Rock. But I thought that was really cool because Disney recently launched a brand new resort in Hawaii, Alani Resort.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
It's a vacation club resort. And so I think there's a really cool connection there with Disney and Hawaii and just tourism, obviously, and just bringing economy back to Hawaii. I think it's really cool. And so the Moani, I think, takes place on the Big Island, and it's like it takes place before civilization established. So you're going back to the tribes of Hawaii, and dealing with the volcanoes and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting to see, and how Disney brings that out as well. And also, too, did you hear about the reshoots for Rogue One?
I did. And, at first I got nervous, but I'll tell you why I'm not nervous now.
Okay, tell me why you're not nervous.
There are all kinds of conflicting reports coming out saying, oh, well, they did reshoots because they weren't happy with the film. And then reports started coming out. They wanted to change the tone a little bit.
Yeah.
And now they're wanting to apparently make a significant character more prominent, Darth Vader or Han Solo. But my opinion is this. Civil War went in for reshoots around the same time span from when they began to shoot to the end of shooting, just like this movie. Avengers, just like this movie. All films do reshoots. They plan ahead when they're going to do reshoots. Now, they could have watched the film and said, okay, there's some things that we need to change. But I trust Disney enough to say, hey, if they see flaws, they're going to fix them. If they see things that they need to change, they're going to make them right.
Well, they have a really good track record with The Force Awakens.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes.
So having said that right out of the gate, it makes me extremely happy that they may have saw something that just didn't quite jive with them, and they're like, okay, we need to fix that because the fans will pick up on it, and especially when you deal with something as big as Star Wars, the Star Wars universe, fans are going to eat you up if you get something wrong. They're going to tear you all to pieces, and they're going to bash you on social media, and they're going to, pretty much, well, think of Batman versus Superman. What they did with that. I mean, it's a movie still today. I'm just like, what happened?
Okay, so speaking of Batman versus Superman, there's another story. So apparently they just dropped the knowledge that the Blu-ray edition, the 30-minute longer cut that they're coming out with.
The Ultimate Edition.
The Ultimate Edition. There was an interview, and I can't remember what this guy had to do with,
which is rated
with
R.
the studio. Rated R, which is pretty epic. But he said this is the version that Zack Snyder wanted to show to the public. Some guy said that.
Do you think it'll be better than the theatrical?
I think if it adds some of the, because I had problems with some of the plot and the story. I liked Batman v Superman.
There was continuity errors in the plot.
There were a lot of continuity
especially with
errors.
Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of choppy editing.
Yeah.
And apparently this 30-minute extended cut is supposed to correct those problems.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a lot to ask for. And it can't take away some of the things that I had problems with them in the movie, but there's always a good chance. And it's rated R, right? So there's a good chance that this could be a better version.
It could be.
Maybe
the fight scene is a little more brutal, more extended.
I have a feeling, and I have a feeling we might get maybe an extra fight scene between somebody too, or some extra, dialogue, because there was a story point with Superman that was really underdeveloped. And in the trailer for the Blu-ray, you see them developing that specific story more.
Yeah.
And I like that they're showing that, but not giving away too much. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be a little bit better.
Cool. I definitely will probably pick up the Blu-ray, and obviously, because I mean, it's Superman and Batman. I mean,
Yeah. How could you not buy?
how could you not?
Come on.
But well, man, do you have anything else exciting going on in your world? How is the Will app going? How is that
The
going?
Will app is going great. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to say this. Yeah, we just got our Coca-Cola deal signed, ready to go. We just finished our Coca-Cola wheel, which Coca-Cola is going to promote through their Facebook pages, potentially their Instagram pages, and we are starting our official sponsorship with Coke. And we are currently doing our press tour, and we have a lot of different sites and magazines and even TV stations that are really interested in the app and wanting to help us promote it. So things are going really well over there. I actually just started an internship with Wheel, which is fantastic. Thank you, Paul. You're the man. And there's
in the house.
Paul's in the house, dude. And there's a good shot that I'll be able to go to LA and start launch with them in the upcoming weeks.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
I'm very excited about that.
Dude, congratulations. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you, man. I have a lot of faith in that app, dude, and the support that we've gotten. I went back to my school a couple weeks ago and got all the kids involved. And,
I follow you on Instagram, dude.
Dude, those kids are fantastic, man, and the support that they showed, for me and my friends and Josh, who's a creator on that app. I love seeing Josh, getting out there and showing his face and stuff, and it's been great so far. So I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, awesome. And you can check that out. It's only on iOS, correct?
Yes, right now it's only on iOS, but in the upcoming months, we're going to try to push it out on Android.
And that is Wheel, Wheel.
Wheel. And then to find in the App Store, type in Wheel Video, but eventually it's just going to get to where you can type in Wheel and find it. Get on it, go crazy, do some cool stuff. And
I've done some preliminary stuff on there, but I haven't had a chance to be able to.
Joe, dude. Like,
I'm a nerd, dude.
Joe is so good that the CEO texted me and said, "Is this guy related to you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "He is awesome." So come on.
That's funny.
That's amazing.
That's just great. But cool, man. Well, Will is awesome, and definitely check that out and download it and enjoy it. And we're about ready to wrap up. If anybody wants to call in that's in the Blab room right now, you're more than welcome to do that. You're welcome to hop in if you're Ninja Turtles, anything that we've talked about, Arrow, DC, everything. You're welcome to hop in the window if you want to and just be able to hang out with us just for a second here. But looking at the notes here, PopX, we do have a hotline. So if there's a movie that you're going out to see, if you're going to go out and see Independence Day Resurgence, or any of those upcoming films like Suicide Squad, or you just happen to see Ninja Turtles or Captain America or X-Men this weekend, drop us a line. It is 850-417-7679. And for those of you that want to type in PopX, that's 850-417-PopX. And you can catch us. We'll play your Skype voicemail. Keep it clean, please. But we'll play your Skype voicemail, or if you're reading a good book, or you pick up a good graphic novel, or you're reading something that's intriguing you, or you're doing something that's inspiring you, we want to know about it. So leave us a message, and keep it a minute or two, whatever. 850-417-PopX.
You guys can also follow us on social media.
You might want to refresh your feed, Austin. Yeah, he's coming back. Is he coming back? Where is my Austin Burr? All right, YouTube Live. Hope you guys are doing good over there. Thanks for hanging out with us. But we are wrapping things up. Austin's trying to get back in here. I think his internet's having some technical difficulty at the moment. Hopefully he comes back in. Maybe. Waiting. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Test 1, 2. Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and pick it up where Austin left off, and I'll just say this for the record for all my friends watching right now. Follow us over on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, at PopXcast. And also, if you want to drop us a line, you can do that, popxcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from you and love to hear from your listeners. Also, for future shows, you can also catch us out over on popxcast.com. I can't see you, Austin. Let me boot you and see if you can come back in here. See if we can do a proper off. There you are.
Hey!
What happened?
Dude, I was looking at you, and I was looking at me, and I was seeing both of us, and I was like, no.
Oh, that's funny. You know what? Go ahead and just pick it up where you left off with your whole spiel, if you want to.
The socials of the medias?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, guys. You can also follow us on social media. Speaking of social media, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Pinterest, all at PopXcast.
Absolutely. And Austin, how can people find you on the interwebs?
I am Austin Burke at The Burkinator with a 3 instead of the E. Yeah, I was young when I made that name. We'd like to encourage all of you faithful listeners to leave us a 5-star rating and review over on iTunes and Google Play. Guys, it really does help us out with getting us ranked among the other searches. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for tuning in, and you are awesome.
All right, and I am Joe Burke. You can find me over on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anything in the world at Rotcav. That's ROTCAV on the interwebs, as we shall say. And we want to say definitely safe travels to our Team PopX, Mike Ippolito and Lindsay Badger, who will be back with us hopefully next week right here on PopXcast. So from all of us here at PopX, thanks for listening, and we will see you on episode 19 next week. Later.
Bye.
All right, on YouTube Live, thanks for listening. We will see you next week. YouTube Live, you rock. Later, Tata. Hi. Goodbye.
You were listening to PopXcast.